Hey everyone, welcome. Bienvenidos a todos. I know folks are still taking their seats, so I'll speak slowly while things fill out. Well, I'm actually going to jump right in, and I think it's clear to all of us, based on what we've already seen today and what you've already lived through over the last couple of years, is that we're living through probably the most significant transformation in technology across industries and definitely in creative skill sets that we've seen in a generation, maybe more. And it's all very exciting, right? Especially if you're a creative and you're seeing the tools and the things that you can do with these tools. And if you're a design leader or a manager of creatives like I am, you're responsible for shaping the things that your teams learn. You're responsible for shaping the way your company transforms. You're also making sure that your company's successful in hitting its metrics while you embrace all this new technology. And so for us as leaders, it can also be very, very scary at times. Because for us, again, we're not just here to adapt. I think we'll all do that. And we're also not here to help our teams adapt. That's going to take some work, but we'll get there too. We're here to shape this change, to shape this transition from old digital to new digital. And that takes quite a lot, actually. So that's what I'm going to share with you today. It's like, what does it take to make this turn? What does it take to help our creatives thrive? And I'm going to begin with grounding you on what I think the most important thing is and where it all starts. Design teams that thrive in the midst of all of this amazing change toward an AI-enabled world, it starts with you, the people in this room, the managers, the leaders in this room. It requires you mastering the same tools and skills that you're asking your team to use and learn. And it's all coming to light so quickly, so it's not an easy thing. And as obvious as that sounds, especially because everyone in this room, most of you, if not all of you, you've already embraced Gen AI, probably in your personal daily lives, even in your work lives and your workflows. But I think it's still a really important point to underscore, and it's advice that I sincerely want you to take seriously. And you can take that advice from me. Hello, I'm Leonardo de la Rocha. I've been a designer and illustrator for close to 25 years now. Weird saying that. I spent 18 of those years supporting teams as a design leader. I've written code. I've helped build platforms. And today, I lead UX teams who are building and designing for AI at a wonderful company called SimplePractice. But I'd rather hammer the point down by sharing with you what leaders who I look up to have said about the importance of leading through doing the work. Mustafa Suleyman, CEO of Microsoft, used a surfing metaphor and says we've got to learn by doing and learning to ride this unstoppable wave that's coming at us. Rachel Kobetz, she's the CDO at PayPal. She also has the best weekly Substack for design leaders. You should subscribe to it. She challenges us with the question, like, do we even have the judgment to lead through this AI-augmented world? And then our friend John Maeda, who I think most of us know by name, and he's going to grace us with some amazing knowledge tomorrow, he reminds us to engage with all of these AI tools in a very hands-on way, so you can learn the do's, but more importantly, the don'ts. But even with all that knowledge and all that great advice, the thing that I would add to it is learn as much as you can in this space and about these tools with a very important single constraint. Find a challenge that you care about personally and use generative AI to help you try to solve it. Now, I think a lot of you probably have seen this Harvard Business Review study. It just got updated this month, actually. And it shows the top Gen AI use cases from around the world. And there's a lot of interesting things going on with Gen AI today. I love that enhanced learning jumped from 9 to 4. Clearly, we're using AI to help us learn more, faster. Creativity made its way into the top 10. That's rad because we should be using Gen AI to get feedback as a sounding board to help us hone our craft as we're learning the technologies. But a not so surprising shift, therapy and companionship, which was already at number 2 last year, is now solidly at number 1. And when I think about that too long, I want to walk back into the ocean. It's a little dystopian, right? But it actually makes sense. We're more digitally connected than ever with the tools that we use and the access to information we have, but we're emotionally more alone as people. And this isn't just a professional problem that I care about, and I do care about it deeply. I work at a company that works in the mental health care space. We build tools for clinicians to have therapy sessions where they authentically connect. So this problem matters to me a lot. But it also matters to me personally. As a dad, I struggle with this notion, but also as a Gen Xer, this really strikes a chord because if you're a Gen Xer like me, I see a lot of young faces, so maybe not, you grew up in an analog world. And you learned in an analog world. And then suddenly this digital world started swooping in and absorbing us and really overwhelming us. And then eventually that digital world disconnected us. And so it's a problem that I care about deeply. And so over 2.5 years ago, just before generative AI started blowing up and getting as popular as it is, a couple of friends of mine and I saw this loneliness crisis growing. And we wanted to help. But not with more scrolling, not with algorithms that tell you exactly what you want to hear. We wanted something slower, something much more human. And so we started building Playground. It's a voice-first app that brings people together in one-on-one conversations. And yeah, please feel free to scan the QR code. I think Quentin, our dev lead, just put out a build this morning. We'd love to get your feedback and your ideas. But think of Playground like you're sitting on a park bench with somebody next to you who actually wants to hear what's on your mind. It's not a feed. It's not a chatbot. It's a real human receiving your input. So the thing that AI can't replicate is the emotional presence of another human being. Not necessarily physical, but just that presence of a human being that you feel emotionally. And the way we wait our turn to speak, and the person you're speaking to kind of knows, they sense that you're just waiting because you're so excited to respond. The awkward silences in a conversation that turn into laughter. The warmth in somebody's voice, or even the crack in their voice when they say, yeah, I felt that too. AI is great at mimicking connection in so many ways, but it's not the same as being seen or heard by another human next to you. So that's why we believe there's still and there always will be a place for human-to-human connection. And some people think it's too late. Some people tell us anything slower than AI, anything messier, anything more emotional, it's already obsolete. But we certainly don't buy that. But we're also not anti-AI. We use it in our processes all the time. Our dev lead, Quentin, used Copilot and Cursor for iOS development. We also use Figmas and Lovable and Bolt for some UI and UX variants as we were kind of approaching our launches. The gradients, the palette explorations, the marketing content early on. And this is back when we were still getting some extra fingers here and there. We were using it to create these things. And we went as deep as using AI to help us with lighting, subtle facial expressions, using prompt refinements that helped us get the non-human models that we needed at the time feel more human, lean towards optimism, or show on their face the spectrum of thought when you're looking for another human to connect with you. So yes, part of leading teams that thrive with AI is to learn the tools that you're asking them to learn, to master them. But in my experience, the real unlock wasn't a tutorial or a demo. It was building something that I actually cared about. And Playground isn't just a case study for us, it's a mission. We believe in it. We want to bring real voice and presence back to our digital connections. And when the goal matters to you, the tools suddenly matter so much more. Every prompt, every model choice, every design trade-off that you make when you're building a product like this, it gets sharper. And so the point is passion projects reveal the edges of what Gen AI can actually do for you. But I think the more important point is it reveals what you want it to do. Now, building something like Playground taught me a lot about where AI is great, where it's not so great. But beyond having a passion project that my co-founders and I are really proud of, it sharpened my perspective on, I think, a bigger question that design leaders are looking to answer today. So as leaders, as designers, where should we focus our energy? Outside of these passion projects that are teaching us a lot about AI, and inside the companies that employ us today, or you want to employ you tomorrow, who are trying so hard to make this turn and become an AI-first technology company. Well, that's where a very recent talk by a friend, Jay Park at Config, just a couple of weeks back, it started connecting some dots for me. And in case you don't know Jay by name, he's the head of UX at Ford. He oversees UX for their electronic car division. He also did some great work helping bring Alexa to life in a previous role at Amazon. And I chatted with him after Config, and he's totally cool with me walking you through some of the points that he made that I think made painted a really cool picture of what this AI shift that we're seeing, that we're feeling, actually is. So during his Config talk, it was a panel with some other folks. The first point he made was the importance of understanding that the vessel itself is part of the experience. He reminded us that in physical AI development, form is no longer neutral. It's not about what's on the screen. It's about where that screen lives. It's about how it receives input from the user and how it moves with the user as well. So whether it's a car, a voice assistant in your house, a shopping cart that you push around a store physically, or a pin that you wear with you and you take wherever you go, the physical vessel shapes the expectations, the input methods, and all the design constraints. So as designers, his point is we really need to stop assuming flat rectangles and start designing for form, for environment around you, and for the use context of that device. So the vessel hosts the intelligence, and it deserves equal attention from design. And then speaking of input methods, Jay also talked about how the input models are the new competitive edge. And this second point hit hard for me because it made it clear that the companies we've seen define the new input methods end up defining the entire era for technology. So think about the first PC-compatible mouse and keyboard from Microsoft, or multi-touch from Apple with the iPhone. Voice inputs with with Amazon's Alexa. These weren't just UI choices that they had to make. They were decisions that made or shaped entire industries. And so in today's multimodal AI-first world, products actually still suffer with undefined or scattered input models. Nothing's really unified or standardized yet. So that should make you really excited as designers, especially if you're in UX, because that's an opportunity to fill that gap. And if you can define how intent flows into the system, you're not just building UX for the future, but you're architecting value for the next era of human-computer interaction. A third point Jay made, I think this is something a lot of people miss. While we're seeing this like really explosive growth curve with cognitive AI, physical AI is actually catching up. So from autonomous vehicles, sensor-aware objects, computer vision, the real world is becoming programmable. So when those two streams of reasoning and robotics eventually meet, and they will soon, our design challenge is going to become multi-dimensional. We're not just designing pixels anymore at that point. We're designing behavior and presence and influence in the people around us. And it's this last point Jay made that was really dope, because it helped clarify exactly where we, as design leaders, need to focus to shape the new creative stack. So the way he framed it was we're moving from this push model to a pull model. Before AI, we pushed commands into a system, right? Now, we simply express intent to those systems. We might not even use CAD anymore to say, to create a chair. We just simply say to CAD, let there be a chair, and we get that chair back. And this shift changes how products are built. And it changes how we lead building those products. So even when your company is looking to you to design, to create the interfaces for AI, what they really need from us is to redesign how intent is captured from their users or customers. So I see this as the real reason why our teams need new muscles and why leaders need to step up with new direction. why PMs are thinking what a feature even is anymore, and why leaders like us are being asked to help companies really quickly evolve into becoming AI first. So as the world shifts from this push model to pull model, our roles have to shift as well. And so it shifts from leading design as a service or a function and starting to think of your team as a force for system change, for how that company has to evolve. So this is a huge moment for us, if you're a design leader, if you're a designer, and we need to be ready to meet it. And it's not just with the excitement that I know you all got from this morning's presentation on how rad it is to create with all these new tools. You need to meet it with focus. Focus that will help shape this AI transformation in a good way and let you add value, be valuable to your companies in the months and years ahead. So it does beg the question, like, where specifically do we need to focus? And to that, I would answer, the real work of leading through this lives in your company's decisions, in their documents, and in a bunch of key moments that your company is using to reshape their future. The company I'm at, SimplePractice, we, again, aim to give independent clinicians, therapists, all the tools and services they need to thrive and run their small business. We recently made this huge shift towards becoming an AI-first company. And the key moments, the decisions, and the documents that I'm going to walk you through reflect a lot about how we got to where we are today. It's not everything, but it's helpful, I'm sure. So narrowing the focus of the process, again, looks like paying attention to these key moments. And I like to think of these key moments that we went through in retrospect at SimplePractice as key moments or milestones on this long, uphill, very windy, very difficult hike that eventually led to real customer value with AI features that are going to be used and valued by our customers. And the first marker on this hike might be crafting AI company principles. These are words that your executive leadership layer are going to pen to make the company accountable for ways of working and the output of their AI work. The next marker down the hike might be something like a company-wide AI blueprint. And at SimplePractice, I saw this masterfully created by our CTO. And he got contributions from other cross-functional executive leaders, including myself. And he created this to ground the company in the technical feasibility and also the technical ambitions that we need to think about to get us to our AI future. Further up the hike, you might create a PRFAQ, product vision. And if you're not familiar with PRFAQ, it's an acronym that stands for press release and frequently asked questions. It's a pretty common document that's used in tech. It was made famous by a couple of Amazon execs. And it's just a way to frame your vision in a very future-thinking, lofty way, the way a press release might talk about your features. From there, your company might put together an AI UX vision document in response to this PRFAQ. It's a document that somebody in my role, the head of design or head of UX, might put together to paint a clear picture for the team that I lead, what my expectations are on how to think about things, what the gaps are that we need to solve for with existing design processes. But it also gives very prescriptive guidance on how to think about our tools coming to life in a cohesive way. It's basically, think of it as a wireframe that helps kind of show your team the way things should be orchestrated together to work. And then finally, your team might put together vision types for the future. Vision types that reflect the things that your PM partners are wanting to build in the roadmap to make it really tangible and understandable from the team that you're leading, make it inspiring to actually get there. So with these key milestones, these key moments that companies go through in your mind, I'm going to walk you through each one and share a little bit about where design needs to get involved so that design can help shape this shift towards an AI-first company. So again, when a company is drafting, and maybe you have them, and you're updating your AI principles, I think it's important not to sit on the sidelines, because it's a really important moment for design to have input. And the way you focus here is turn principles that you read into product behaviors. This means you should help translate a lot of the abstract concepts that are said or reflected in these principles. Things like AI transparency. Well, what does that mean? Like, turn that into concrete UI decisions that designers can actually get and work with, and then model them. in critiques, in roadmaps, in your product launches, until it becomes the default to kind of answer every single question of what these principles mean for a design team. And then moving on to the AI blueprint, again, this is the goal of this document is to set a shared technical and ethical understanding of how your company is going to integrate AI into its products, into its operations, into its marketing, brand experiences. The blueprint is going to answer questions like, how do we rethink feasibility technically? What kind of systems impact should we expect? And even call out any business risks that your company is going to face. And the role of design here is to sketch the future before it's written. So bring design empathy upstream as this is being created. Share internal product and design use cases, like how are you already using AI tools inside of the company walls, whether they know it or not. Share the customer friction points that you're working on today, but also what new friction are your customers going to expect once you shift into an AI-first feature set. And share with leaders in the document comments or however they're asking for input how your team's going to shape what comes next and what your team's already doing with AI internally. And what this will do is this will help ensure that there's a good sense of UX evolution baked into the foundation of your company's transformation, eventually getting you what you need to be successful. The PR FAQ, again, this is where vision becomes narrative. It's the rallying cry for your company on what you're building with AI. And it's actually the first time that a lot of folks more broadly across your company are going to see your vision in a concrete and very story-driven way. So the big way design leaders can help here is shape it, not just by making the words bounce or it look and sound pretty, but making it credible, inspiring, and ultimately executable. So design from the story, not just for it or to support it. Treat the PR FAQ like it's a screenplay. Mock up the experiences that it's talking about. And it can be low fidelity, it can be high fidelity, but try to reflect what your leader is creating there. And then test it. Test those concepts with your customers, with your users. And build visual flows that make the big bets that are documented in here feel real and trustworthy, especially to your design team. And the next key moment might be crafting the actual AI UX vision. Right? This is where things get very hands-on and very interesting for design leaders. I created this document for SimplePractice, and it was really me creating a North Star, but then showing the path, illuminating it on how to get there. So for me, it was showing what great AI UX actually looked like. I gave my team a very clear vision of how things need to come together and be orchestrated. But then I also gave them very clear swim lanes and critique lenses and new rituals to help them understand this and get up to speed on it so that they can translate it to the designers and creatives that they managed. So it's not just a document to show, here's what I want you to execute against. It's a living, breathing thing that shows your team what you expect, but then they help fill in kind of the gaps on how to get there. It's a perfect time for you as a leader to roll up your sleeves, show your senior talent, your senior ICs, or even if you manage managers, how the new input modality should be coming to life. Like literally, when in the UI or across the user flows, should you start thinking about voice inputs or gestural inputs or chatbots that answer questions for your customers when the clinicians aren't around? And then finally, the final key moment I'll speak to is when designers, engineers, and PM partners at the squad level partner to make their AI roadmap come to life. And at SimplePractice, we did this by parallel pathing vision type work with the PM requirement work, and it was very messy, but it was also very fun. What I learned from that was this is where design leaders need to redesign the job, not just the screens. And what I mean is use a jobs to be done framework, and if you're not familiar with jobs to be done, definitely search it. But a jobs to be done framework will let you map every single task that you are expecting your customer to complete across their journey, and there's tons of them if you're a SaaS company. And then you work with PM and engineering to discuss and debate every single stop, every single job, and try to align on what can actually be automated from all of this, and you mark that, and what can be assisted by AI, and you mark that, and then what might be delegated to an agent where the work is just done for you, and you decide what all the jobs that fall into that category. And taking this approach, it's going to help your squads get aligned very, very early on what AI can drive and what changes they can drive to make the biggest gains across everything that exists today. and even the new ones that you're rethinking for tomorrow. But I think more importantly, doing this process is going to spotlight where human touch still matters the most. Because at a company like SimplePractice, we're not trying to take away anything that clinicians offer to their clients. We're, in fact, just trying to create space and time for them to give more of that one-on-one human care. So it's great that it also spotlights where humans need to be involved and where you're never going to let AI come and take that from them. Now, I'm going to leave you with a thought on why all of this matters so much right now. It's because AI is going to reshape how work happens with or without you, with or without us. And how AI reshapes that work, well, that's still an opportunity that we all have. It's an opportunity that I hope you're excited about. And maybe not all companies are going to use these key moments to transform, but having just gone through this very recently, I can tell you firsthand, these types of milestones actually make a difference and are really helpful in AI transformation. So if you want to see some actual templates, some vanilla versions of these, you can scan the QR code. It's just a type form for your contact information, and I'll be happy to send it your way. Because honestly and frankly, I'm really excited to build the next era of companies with you all, and I look forward to your collaboration and your own ideas. Thanks very much.